If you had visited the Dark County Infirmary around 1869, you would probably not have spared a second glance at the dark-haired, unassuming 9-year-old girl many referred to as Annie. Moreover, you likely wouldn't have noticed when the following year she disappeared to a foster family to work as a servant, perhaps destined to a life of servitude. Yet this little girl would go down to become the national celebrity of the late Wild West. As the preeminent star of Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, this formerly unassuming girl would go on to win numerous sharpshooting medals, performing for royalty and surging crowds alike. I'm Jake Storelli, and in today's episode of Laughs from the Past, we're talking the life of legendary sharpshooter, celebrated performer, and Wild West celebrity Annie Oakley. Get your shooting ears ready, folks.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Laughs from the Past. Thank you very much for tuning in. It is season 8, episode 8, I believe, because we had a two-parter last time. And we are talking about Annie Oakley, as you heard from Jake's fine and fabulous introduction. Jake, how are you doing? Welcome to the show that you are a host on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I think us and even a lot of the fan base are excited to get away from people eating people.
Mm-hmm.
And Annie Oakley's, an all-timer. She's probably on a lot of different Mount Rushmores of either favorite, just people in Western history, or young women in history, or whatever it may be. And we've been given specific orders by our producers to not turn on Annie Oakley like we have on some famous people from the past, which I don't think was at risk.
Yeah. Annie Oakley's cool. I don't know. All I know about her is from the intro. So that she was part of the Buffalo Bills Wild West show. She was a sharpshooter and she performed for like royalty. I know all that stuff. I also told you this in a conversation prior that I had a little Tykes basketball hoop in my house when I was like 20, whenever. It was after college. And we would play a game, we'd play around the world and all that. And every time I would sink a shot, I would just say, they call me Annie Oakley, because I thought, I think it's funny because it's like a female sharpshooter. You're crossing boundaries. Sharpshooter. Yeah. No one really referenced Annie Oakley. Like if you heard that on the NBA court, that'd be kind of funny.
Yeah.
Or like if an announcer was like, call him Annie Oakley because he is shooting.
A sharpshooter.
Yeah.
It turns some heads. It definitely it gets some views. If we are gonna start in negative town, which the producer specifically said not to, I would say the only thing I'm worried about is that she might have ruined the name Annie for people. I mean, I feel like Annie Oakley, and is the Broadway show Annie, or are we talking about the same people? But I feel like Annie is now forever like an old name, right?
I think people mostly think of Annie, the little orphan with the butler and,
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, those two Annies combined make Annie a name of the past.
I think most Annies are going by Ann these days, but it'll full cycle. Exactly. It'll come back, you know, because right now, like all those old names are coming back. Names from the 1920s are, yeah. So, all right, let's get right into this. Annie Oakley was born Phoebe Annie Mosey. Wow. Okay. Phoebe Mosey. is not as cool as Annie Oakley. Although you do have some kind of, it sounds similar. But she was born
Phoebe Mosey. It's Phoebe Mosey and Annie Oakley seem like they'd be a good like ragtag pair.
Yeah, but Phoebe would be the lesser for sure.
Okay.
She was born on August 13th, 1860 in a log cabin in Darke County, Ohio, a rural county along the state's border with Indiana. Annie's parents, both Quakers, were poor. And with Annie as the sixth of 7 children, not much had to go around. Not much was had to go around. Their living situation worsened when her father died of pneumonia in 1865. Quick math, she was 5 years old or 4 years old when her father died. That's sad.
That'll do it. That'll worsen your living situation.
Yeah. Because of poverty following the death of her father, Annie did not regularly attend school as a child. Instead, she began trapping before the age of 7 and shooting and hunting by age 8 to support her siblings and her widowed mother. She could shoot quail and pheasants in the head, keeping the edible portions of the birds entirely free of buckshot. Later in life, she would recall her first successful shot. So before we do that.
Yeah. What's the word when there's a just a character that you see in a show, like the worn down dad, or a trope?
Trope. Yeah.
Was Annie Oakley the trope of like the tough boy daughter a little bit? Like has a lot of those been built off of Annie Oakley? She's hunting, she's killing, she's supporting the family as a youth.
At 7 years old to be trapping, I don't really know. You lay down traps. That's fine. 8 years old to be like a steady enough shot to shoot a quail in the head, but not the body at 8. You know how big quails are, Jake?
I mean, I feel like I have a general idea, but like, no.
I mean, quail.
Like they're a bird.
Yeah, but I mean, have you seen a quail's head?
It's not a big bird. It's not a big bird. Not a big target.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's a hell of a shot if true. Like, look at the size, and I'll put it on the screen for you so the audience knows when you react. Look at Jimmy, you dumb piece of shit. Look at the size.
And I don't want to be harsh. I feel like it's going to be impressive. And she goes on to become a great sharpshooter.
Oh, I mean, that is an incredible shot.
I will play a little bit of the history card. I'm sure a couple quails got it in the gut. And
couple quails had buckshot. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple quails got it. And, that's those stories didn't get passed on. But I'm sure she didn't
bring those home to her family. She had like a hole dug somewhere of all the quails she shot in the body. She only brought home the headshots. And then
I saw a squirrel run down over the grass in front of the house, through the orchard, and stop on a fence to get a hickory nut. Taking a rifle from the house, she fired at the squirrel, saying that it was a wonderful shot, going right through the head from side to side.
She's a little bit British. Annie Oakley got a little bit British there.
She loved ancient British.
Yes,
culture.
She got a little, but that was her recalling the first time she shot a squirrel, I guess. However, in 1870, at the age of 9, she was sent to Darke County Infirmary, the county poorhouse, along with her sister, as her mother did not have the resources to take care of her. Damn.
Tough.
Sounded like she was taking care of her mother anyway.
Yeah, right? Like, I guess we kind of left the trope to now, like, I don't know, we're in a new world.
Cuts to her mom running out to the hole and digging up all the quails that are buckshot and just eating the lead bodies.
No, yeah.
They took my Annie. And then she's just eating poison bird. That's sad.
Eating lead.
When she was about 10, she agreed to become a servant of sorts, helping with a baby and household chores for another local farming family. The family was physically and mentally abusive, however, Annie referred to them later in her own autobiography only as the Wolves. Wow. Sounds like a bad time. One time, the wife put Annie out in the freezing cold without shoes as a punishment because she had fallen asleep while sewing. I mean, we're talking like handheld sewing here, not like, a sewing machine. So, I mean, come on, everyone that sews is falling asleep while sewing. It's like you sew yourself to bed.
It's a rite of passage. And
Yeah.
I think the other thing that's might put me more on the defensive is we have a 10-year-old Annie Oakley that knows how to hunt, trap, take care of a baby, sew. And I'm like, I'm over.
Yeah, you can't do any of that, huh?
0.
Did you ever sew in home ec in like elementary school or middle school?
I mean, I think like 6th grade, and I mean, I wouldn't say there's a passing grade came from it.
I had a pair of shorts I sewed that came out. I wore them for a while afterwards. They were awesome.
I don't think I've ever been one-on-one with a baby.
What? Really?
Yeah.
You got to do that before you have kids or something, man.
Yeah, I mean, the dog is the practice run.
I hate when people say that, but that's not. I
see.
mean, you got to get a baby.
Yeah, I mean, just think about when would me and a baby be alone together, straight up.
Don't you have any friends who have kids?
I mean, like a couple, but like, why would they leave me with their baby?
You mean like one-on-one?
Me and a baby, the only thing in a house.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have. But
When?
I used to watch Reef. I used to babysit and when I was in high school, I would babysit for the Mackenzies that I knew, and they had a 9-month-old, 10-month-old baby at the time.
Okay, there you go.
I mean, I could probably name like 20 babies that I've been alone with. But yeah, I mean, sounds like you're scared of babies. But anyway, Annie Oakley, they should have just had her hunt. Like, why are you going to make her sew? She's not a house cat. She's an outside cat. They just pegged her wrong. So of course she's going to fall asleep while sewing. It's boring. She spent about 2 years in near slavery to them. It seems loosely used, before running away in the spring of 1872, bouncing around various foster families before returning to her mother. She would use her trapping and shooting skills to support her mother and siblings, helping to pay off the mortgage. See, that's what I'm saying. Her family was relying on her.
That 5-year gap seems like such a miss.
Who took her away from her family? I think the government maybe tried to do it. This family, the Wolves, that just wanted her as a slave?
Yeah, I don't know.
Her mother surely needed her. What do you think about her look in this picture? She got the double-barrel rifle. She got her gloves on. Big old hair.
Love it. I mean,
yeah, she looks great.
20-year-old Annie Oakley, confident.
Yeah. She looks good. Annie's life as a celebrity sharpshooter really began as a result of a chance encounter and supposedly easy bet. Oh, dude, I also like Luke, producer Luke, when he was a baby. I was 10 years old, but I would change his diaper and watch him and babysit him like nonstop. So I got like grandfathered into it pretty easily.
Yeah, you and I think we're both on different ends of the baby spectrum.
I would say that as well. I'm very high. I love babies. Like, you want me to babysit
you're
your
99%. I'm like, I'm probably like 8%. Like, I'm a little intimidated, but I'll play the game.
Yeah. Okay. So on Thanksgiving Day in 1875, she's 15 years old. The Bauman and Butler Shooting Act visited Cincinnati. Traveling show marksman Frank E. Butler placed a $100 bet, which is equivalent to around $2,400 today, that he could beat any local shooter in the show that day. A local hotel owner, knowing Annie's shooting prowess, arranged for her to compete against him, saying in the Cincinnati Enquirer, the last opponent Butler expected was a 5-foot-tall 15-year-old girl named Annie. After missing on his 25th shot, Butler lost the match and the bet. Annie hit all 25. Boom, boom, boom. Badass. Take that, Frank Butler. You think this was an
25
inside
for
job?
25, man. No. I think Annie, this is how lures are built on. If it is an inside job, I mean, it's genius marketing by the hotel owner either way. Because you're getting good press no matter what happens sending Annie Oakley out there. But man, I mean, 25 for 25. I don't care how close or how far you're shooting. Like that's incredible.
Now, I don't know the rest of this story, but this seems like the opening act to White Men Can't Jump. And it seems very much like Frank Butler now needs to take her on the road with him and like dupe the crowd. Like, I'll bet you can't pick someone out of the, you know how White Men Can't Jump was?
Yeah.
You can pick anyone here. I'll beat you. And then like, it's all men and there's a 15-year-old girl and they're like, we choose her. And then that'd be a good movie. I hope that's what
I think
happens.
you need to get your creepy hat on a little better.
Why, you think Frankie Butler's creepy?
Continue reading.
Impressed, Butler immediately began courting Annie. Nearly a year after the event, they would marry and begin living in Cincinnati and performing together. Annie took the name Oakley as her stage surname, as it was the neighborhood they lived in. Oh, I like that it has some sort of value and meaning, the neighborhood they lived in. How old was he? Because she's 15. She's 16 when they got married. Wonder how old he
15,
was.
16. Yeah, I don't know if we have Frankie B's age yet.
Yeah.
Nice
kind of want to.
stash.
Frank E. Butler's his name?
Yes.
So she was born in 1860. He was born in 1847.
That's at 13 years.
13 years. So she's 16 and he's 29.
Not ideal.
No, not as bad as I thought for the times. She was very
Good
advanced
time.
for her age, Jake. She wasn't going to date a run-of-the-mill 16-year-old. That dude sucks. He couldn't even hit one target, you know? She needs a man.
Yeah. They found somewhat equals.
Annie immediately began garnering national attention for her skills. How funny is it that Frank E. Butler marries the first woman that beats him or like shows an interest in his hobby?
Yeah. That's how it works. That's how the life works.
Oh, you enjoy sharpshooting as well? Let's marry.
Perfect.
She's like, yeah. Annie immediately began garnering national attention for her skills. In early 1884, the Sioux spiritual leader and medicine man Sitting Bull, who had beaten General Custer at the Battle of Little Bighorn, saw a show that Annie was in. He was so impressed that he asked to see her after the show. Annie gave him a signed picture of herself. Sitting Bull gave her moccasins he had worn at Little Bighorn and the nickname Watanya. Fuck. How am I going to pronounce this? Watanya Cecilia.
Cecilia? Yeah.
Kakilla. Which is Little Shore Shot. Hey, I don't know if I want the moccasins the guy wore in battle.
Are you kidding me?
Just might have like blood.
Do you want the glove Jeter wore on his hands, or do you want him one he grabbed from Modell's?
If you could name a lot of things from battle, I think the last thing I would want is like the footwear. I mean, I'm guessing he didn't have a lot of shoes and they were probably very smelly and kind of gross.
I mean, they were definitely dope moccasins. Probably like his fighting moccasins. Like, this is Sitting Bull, man. Like these are his A+ game. He wore these Battle Little Bighorn.
I wonder if they're in a museum.
I feel like this is a moment in history where if time travel was flexible, like everyone does, like you only get one moment in time to go back. Where are you going? If you're a Western history buff and it was like, hey, you're only getting 15 minutes somewhere, I think Sitting Bull and Annie Oakley just throwing out. I'm kind of here for that.
It's kind of cool. I think I'd go to Tombstone. Here's a pair of moccasins. So that's kind of what you got. But dude, those things had to be smelly. I'm saying.
Dude.
Like, I hope they didn't, producer Luke, shout out again, some of the smelliest feet going during a big stretch of his life. Sure. If he brought his shoes inside, was like, take those outside. And he didn't even fight any wars in them. And they were like, 21st century design shoes or 22nd, whatever we're in.
Yeah, but I think there's less shoe care now than there was back then. I feel like you wake up and it would be part of your kind of routine. Like you're bored as all hell. Might as well clean my stinky shoes. Today we're like, oh, play video games and watch your TikToks. I don't care about my smelly shoes. I mean, that sounds like producer Luke.
Yeah. I mean, she gave him a signed picture of herself. And he's like, here are my shoes.
Yeah. Good trade.
Yeah. All right. Next up, she's going to go to Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. Debuting in 1883, Buffalo Bill's Wild West was a circus-like pageant celebrating life in the West. It's so interesting to me that they celebrated life in the West while it was happening. Like the Wild West.
We're doing it.
Usually it takes a while for people to celebrate the history, like 80s themed parties and 80s themed concerts. Because it's nostalgia factor. But as it was happening, because people from the East Coast were reading them in the dime store novels, like, what's going on over there? Show me, show me. And this dude's like, I'll put on a whole show. This is what happens. But it's very life imitating art because it's real. That's always kind of blown my mind that they were taking place while it was really happening.
It's live.
Yeah. Debuting in 1883, Buffalo Bill's circus-like pageant celebrating life in the West. In late 1884, Annie and Frank met William Buffalo Bill Cody. While performing with a circus in New Orleans, Frank and Cody negotiated for a 3-day trial with the Buffalo Bill Wild West show in early 1885. Annie and Frank would go on to perform with the Buffalo Bill Wild West show for 16 seasons and tour throughout the U.S. Cody called Annie Lil Miss, an apt nickname for the 5-foot-tall markswoman, and had her perform early in the show to help audiences get used to the sound of gunfire. Ooh.
Break them in.
Smart. Her charisma and her skill with many firearms endeared audiences to her and to the show. She would go on to earn more than any other member of the show other than Buffalo Bill himself. Badass, Annie. 3-day trial period for the 2 best sharpshooters in America. Just sign them up, Buffalo Bill.
Hey, you got to see it on stage, man. There's a lot of people that can do it on the practice court. You got to bring it.
Just get stage fright. Just shoot someone in the crowd.
Imagine 3 days and you get 3 shots at a candle wick. If you go 1 for 3, that's not doing anything.
Yeah, it's true. She went 25 or 25 though. 15 at 15 years old.
Hey, you're 3 days and you're on the team, kid.
I was just going to say, I want to know what was her show in the next section here. Good job by writer Noah. Has some of her stunts. Some of her stunts for the show included: at 90 feet, she could shoot a dime or a cork out of a bottle or snuff out candle flames. She could shoot a cork out of a bottle and candle flames.
So
okay.
I
don't get the
cork. A dime's pretty cool.
Yeah. At 30
90 feet.
At 30 paces, no idea how long that ends up being. What's that, like 30 feet?
30 paces. It also feels like 90 feet, which is weird.
I think it's like 60 feet. At 30 paces, she could split a playing card held with the edge facing her multiple times. Whoa. That's as thin as paper. She's hitting paper. The theater business began referring to free tickets, which had holes punched in them, as Annie Oakley's. Oh, that's cool.
It's when you've made it.
That's crazy. With the edge facing her. So she's just slicing. If you can do that, what else is there to even prove? That's the sharpest shot you can do.
Yeah, I'm assuming that playing cards have gotten better over time a little bit.
You think they had just like wallet-sized playing cards?
I think they were a little thicker.
Okay.
It's still an impressive shot. Not taking anything away from Annie, but...
She would routinely involve others in her acts. She hit dimes tossed into the air, shot cigarettes from her husband's lips, and would riddle a playing card thrown into the air with holes before it touched the ground. I mean, can people still do this? There's that one video on YouTube of the guy who's like the fastest gunslinger on his hips and like hits like 5 bottles, and it's cool. But I mean, every sport and industry has gotten better over time, and especially technology and guns and stuff. Like, are people doing these feats? I just don't know about them.
I don't know. I think it's a tricky thing. I'd say no, because like you're saying, gun technology has gotten so much better that there's almost less skill involved. And again, it kind of goes back to being bored during these times. Like Annie Oakley knew her way around that gun.
Yeah. I don't know. There's got to be sharpshooting competition somewhere. I just wonder if they're as good as Annie Oakley. Wild Bill was also really good. Okay. She could hit a target using a rifle aimed backwards over her shoulder using a mirror. Oh, yeah, there's a very famous picture of that. Have you seen that picture?
Annie Oakley over the mirror?
Yeah. It's on this sheet. Maybe I'll throw it in post, because I don't have it set up to show. But, I mean, that seems just implausible. But really cool. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
How does that happen? There's a picture of it. That's a cool shot. Is anyone doing that trick? I want to see it.
I think someone could still do that trick, yes.
Where are they doing it? I got to go to a sharpshooter convention or something?
Yeah, I don't think you'd
I'm
like
not,
that convention.
I'm not going to that convention. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
In one particular show, she amazed Chief Sitting Bull when she playfully skipped on stage, lifted her rifle, and aimed the barrel at a burning candle. In one shot, she snuffed out the flame with a whizzing bullet. Sitting Bull watched her knock corks off of bottles and slice through a cigar her husband held in his teeth. Oh, man, this picture of her like shooting at the dog kind of scares me.
Yeah, don't love that picture at all. I mean, hey, I trust Annie Oakley, but I don't know. That dog has to sneeze or something. Could have a bad day on our hands.
Yeah, here's the picture. I mean, just, I don't need a living thing there for me. I guess a lot of people get off on that, like, oh, she may kill that dog. You just put that penny on like a yardstick. I'm still impressed.
Raises the stakes, man. Her husband's out there and you're shooting at him.
Is that 30 paces? Because that's like 10 paces.
I don't think that's 30 paces. Yeah.
That's like 10 paces. Yeah. Okay. I got to get my pace calculator going. One interesting story about Oakley during her rise with Buffalo Bill's show comes from none other than Thomas Edison. He was a big old jerk face. That's a story for another time. Buffalo Bill happened to be friends with Edison, and Annie's rise to fame coincided with Edison's development of the kinetoscope, an early motion picture device. In November of 1894, Oakley and Butler starred in Edison's kinetoscope film, The Little Sure Shot of the Wild West, which was filmed in Edison's personal movie studio. The film shows Oakley using a rifle to shoot at several stationary objects and thrown discs. See the 40-second movie below.
Okay.
I'm interested in that, but it's kind of... Hold on. Now, is there another place to find it? All right. Annie Oakley Edison film. I think we'll be able to find it. Okay, 21 seconds long. This one's 40. This is cool. All right. For people that are just listening on the podcast app, we will describe in full what we're watching. Or just go to YouTube and find whatever time that this is in the episode and then, do all that. All right. I'm trying to set this up, Jake. See, I'm very excited about this. Here we go. Here we go.
Here we go. Library of Congress. Looks like they put this video out.
There she is. She's incredibly close to whatever she's shooting at. I mean, she's that guy just walked 3 paces. Oh no. She's shooting, they're like 10 feet away from her.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm guessing this is just in a studio. All right. I wish I didn't see that. That was way less impressive than the things I had going on in my head.
Yeah, the shooting dimes still kind of half cool, but the aesthetic of that whole thing, I mean, it looked like she was shooting, I don't know, like
The opening thing where she's shooting those plates, that's like fish in a barrel. Like she was 3 feet away from the plates.
that was a tight shot. That did not seem like the opener in my head.
They might not have wide angle cameras back then, so Edison may have just put her into a small room for his filming technique. But if I was Annie Oakley, I'd shoot that film out of existence. Annie gained international fame and cemented her status as America's first female star after touring with Buffalo Bill's show through Europe. Her time in London coincided with Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee. Wow, what a name, a Golden Jubilee.
Mm.
All the world and his wife were there. One newspaper reported of the May 9th opening. The show was on every tongue, another said, and the papers lavished praise on Oakley, saying the loudest applause of the night was reserved for her and declaring her far and away the show's best marksman.
And think about how big this was for her when she was a youth idolizing, ancient Britain, and now she's here performing on the big stage.
I wonder if she did her accent for him.
Yeah, I mean, what a moment.
Nearly 32 million people would visit the Paris Exposition the following year, and Annie was there to perform for them. Yeah?
You got to say that number again. That's I think that seems like it just sounded like a number in passing, but say that again.
32 million people would visit the Paris Exposition.
32 mil, man.
It's a lot of
this
people.
This isn't YouTube views. These are people. These are heads rolling through.
I don't get how many acts she did or how many. Oh, so the first crowd was 20,000 people. I mean, how many shows is that? The math, that's crazy math. I
mean, you start doing 3 shows a day, something like that. I think you get there.
You think you can get 20,000 people in and out 3 times a day?
Nothing else going on, man.
Just the logistics. 32 million divided by 20,000 is 1,600 shows. Divided by 365 is 4.5 shows a day for a full year. Yeah, that number is
What are we
off.
doing? 20K in the building?
20K in the building. Okay, producer Noah, I don't know if you can hear him, says that's just how many people went to the exposition. Not all of them went to her show. That makes more sense.
Okay.
But still, it's probably a very, very crazy number. It's probably very high.
It's a thing.
Yeah. At the beginning, Oakley had to win over French audiences. The first crowd of 20,000 reportedly sat like icebergs, she recalled. And initially, it looked like the only ones who would applaud were clackers hired for that purpose. Annoyed, Oakley had her husband send them away, and by the end of her act, had the audience cheering and throwing their hats into the air. So she sent the fake fans away. I don't want your pity applause, clackers.
Yeah.
Eat my butt and get out of here.
Clackers is good. She probably didn't say eat my butt and get out of here, but
I mean, I'm just reading what Noah wrote.
Okay, I must have missed that.
Yeah, well, it's in invisible ink.
That's my bad then.
From that point on, Oakley had no trouble at all, and her performances drew such acclaim that the president of France offered her a commission in the French army, and the king of Senegal reportedly said he would buy her for 100,000 francs. Ah, the rich people are so insufferable. Power, huh?
Hey, I really appreciate you trying to buy me, King of Senegal, but no thank you.
Yeah, I actually spent 5 years with the wolves in an orphanage. I didn't like it so much, so I don't think I'm going to let anyone buy me again. Or how about the French dude? Hey, you want to be in our army? No, I got a pretty good gig going.
I'm okay with not being owned.
Yeah. Or shot at. I'll just do the shooting and no one shoots back. How about that?
So maybe just how about instead you come to the next show?
Yeah. Bring your family.
Pow
Uh,
pow.
A number of these international stories of acclaim would surround Oakley. With another was that she shot the ashes off a cigarette held by the newly crowned German Kaiser Wilhelm II at his request. When the story appeared in the papers after the war had begun, Oakley and Butler, apparently taking advantage of the publicity, endorsed it. And Oakley would later wirily remark that a miss on that occasion might have averted World War I. Wow.
Wow.
She could have stopped World War I. I mean, brutal war, a lot of deaths.
Okay, so and you want us to depict her in a good light, Noah. Okay.
That's one knock on her
Yeah.
head. Just could have stopped World War I.
I've never, if I had the opportunity, I'd like to think I would try to stop a world war, but
Yeah, just bad foresight by her not knowing that German Kaiser Wilhelm II was a bad guy. I mean, if a leader of a free world like puts a cigarette in his mouth and says, "Nah, shoot it off my mouth," that's a bad guy. Good guys aren't taking that risk.
I don't know. I mean, it's up to times.
You got to think about who that guy is.
Respect. It's a sign of respect to a degree.
Yeah. Someone should make a story where she did assassinate him.
Fan fiction.
Yeah, Inglourious Bastard style. With Annie's fame came a national platform, one that she used to advocate for various causes. Oakley promoted the service of women in combat operations for the United States Armed Forces. She wrote a letter to President William McKinley on April 5th, 1898, offering the government the services of a company of 50 lady sharpshooters who would provide their own arms and ammunition should the U.S. go to war with Spain. Although the Spanish-American War would follow, her offer was not accepted.
I mean, you just referenced making a movie. I mean, there's your movie, 50
Yeah.
Lady Sharpshooters.
Yeah. Yeah. There's that one picture in history of like a bunch of women being trained how to like shoot at a gun range, and like it's in the like 1950s, but it's cool. Yeah.
Okay.
McKinley, you don't want 50 soldiers? Damn. In 1901, the same year that McKinley was assassinated, Oakley was badly injured in a train accident, but recovered after temporary paralysis and 5 spinal operations. Whoa. Spinal operations in 1901? What the fuck were they even doing?
Like, genuinely don't want to know.
Hey, here's your spine. Just like tickling it. That feel better? She left the Buffalo Bill show and in 1908 began a less taxing career in a stage play written especially for her, The Western Girl. Oakley played the role of Nancy Berry, who used a pistol, a rifle, and rope to outsmart a group of outlaws. It's easy.
Yeah.
Throughout her career,
Method actor.
Yeah. Throughout her career, it is believed that Oakley taught more than 15,000 women how to use a gun. Oakley believed strongly that it was crucial for women to learn how to use a gun as not only a form of physical and mental exercise, but also to defend themselves. She remarked, "I would like to see every woman know how to handle guns as naturally as they know how to handle babies."
Woo.
Woo.
Tell him, Annie.
Tell him. It's good, though. Gun advocate.
I can't handle either.
Yeah. Don't put a
Can't
gun in
over
my
two.
hand. Perhaps the most striking part of Oakley's legacy is that, although it certainly played a role, her status as a woman who could shoot was superseded by the fact that she was, simply put, the single best sharpshooter the nation had ever seen. Yeah, she wasn't just a lady sharpshooter. She was just a sharpshooter. She wasn't the best lady sharpshooter. She was just the best sharpshooter.
Best sharpshooter.
Her husband knows he was second fiddle.
Yeah, how's he doing with everything, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Just proud of her, I'm hoping.
At a certain point, yeah, he just kind of tapped out. Like, you got it.
I'm guessing the injury in the train he was a bit scared for.
Yeah, maybe we've got like a kind of a Bradley Cooper. What's that movie? I'm off the
Star is
deep
Born.
end now. Yeah, like he sees her coming up. He kind of feels like he's had his time. A little less killing himself and drinking stuff, but he's
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, I'd rather pass the torch to this young lady. She deserves it.
Yeah. I mean, he was her biggest fan, I guess. It's a beautiful story. Perhaps the most striking, she continued to set records into her 60s. Wow. So I thought maybe all the spinal surgeries, like she lost her ability, but I guess not. And she also engaged in extensive philanthropy for women's rights and other causes, including the support of young women she knew. She embarked on a comeback and intended to star in a feature-length silent film. She hit 100 clay targets in a row from 16 yards at age 62 in a 1922 shooting contest in North Carolina. I mean, that's badass.
Yeah, again, like I think if you saw the video of that, you're not blown away, but still very cool.
16 yards, yeah. Thinking of a football field. Yeah, it's pretty close. She was a key influence in the creation of the image of the American cowgirl. Through this image, she provided substantial evidence that women are as capable as men when offered the opportunity to prove themselves. After her death in 1926 at the age of 66, it was discovered that her entire fortune had been spent on her family and various charities promoting women's empowerment and independence. Annie Oakley, most feel-good story of our Wild West season, kind of seems like she was an all-around very good person. I really hope you guys don't Moberg her, Noah wrote at the end, which I don't think we did.
Oh, you're gonna love this picture at the bottom.
Yeah, it's a good picture.
That's
I mean,
a
I'm
great
guessing that
picture.
was in 1922 when she was old.
1922, yeah. Um, yeah, A, producer Noah, I mean, chill out. I think we get the stories right 95% of the time.
Yeah.
Um, and Annie Oakley wasn't one we were gonna miss, because she don't miss. Hey, yeah, and I think a lot of things going on here. At the end, it says she kind of made the image of the American cowgirl. I wonder what she would think if she went to a Kenny Chesney concert that happens and saw what the American cowgirls are dressing like, because I don't think she'd approve of that. I think it's kind of impressive. Like we know the name Annie Oakley, and if you had asked us before this, we'd say something like, "Yeah, I think wasn't she a sharpshooter, something like that." The deep dive on Annie and her giving away all her money and women's rights and all that stuff. I mean, that's wildly impressive.
I'm surprised that she went straight into showbiz. Like a lot of people that ended up on Buffalo Bills, whatever, Buffalo Bill, what's it called?
Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, Wild West show. A lot of people that ended up there, like, did the life first. Like,
Right.
Wild Bill Hickok was there, and then he went on the show for a little bit and made their stops on the show. But she never like lived an outlaw life. She lived a hard life. I thought, just my misconception, I thought maybe she had like some where like her sharpshooting came from a place of danger or whatever. But she was just a hunter as a little girl.
Yeah, just got in early. Just was doing it young.
I just want to know if people have beaten her thing. You know? Like, is she still the best sharpshooter?
Beating her thing.
Has a guy outdone
Like, are you
her?
asking if is Annie Oakley the best shooter ever? Period.
I can't believe that's true. I just don't know any current modern sharpshooters.
I think it turns into a sports debate. I think if you start doing technology of the time and things like that, I think Annie is kind of untouchable. I mean, as guns progressed and things like that, they obviously could make a lot more shots. There's probably snipers that could hit a dime from, half a mile away now.
I
She's
hope
the
that
Babe Ruth sharpshooting.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that, Luke.
Yeah, I looked into that a bit because I was like, can you like calculate how good she was? And it's interesting because I guess in the late 19th or late 20th century, or early 20th century and the late 19th century, sharpshooting was more about how quick and accurate you could hit targets rather than like from the distance that you could hit them, because guns were much less reliable from a distance. So there wasn't much skill as in luck there was from hitting from a distance, because just like guns just didn't fire as accurately.
Yeah, like
So that's why you see her shooting from closer range.
I pulled up a sharpshooting competition on YouTube, and it looks like it's from the 90s or something. And it's like skeet shooting. And if you compare that to that Thomas Edison film, it makes Annie Oakley almost come off as a joke. That film's a bad look for her. They should probably delete that. She's literally shooting things from 2 feet away.
Yeah, that didn't help. That was a sour turn. Have we gotten a good Annie Oakley film?
Is there Annie Oakley movie? There was a 1935 one. No, it looks like we haven't gotten a modern one.
I mean, is it not time?
Yeah. Come on.
Who do you have playing Annie Oakley?
Well, first I thought of that girl from, what's her name? Oh, this is gonna bother me because I'm blanking on every name. Her name starts with an H. Haley something. She was in True Grit.
Haley Williams, Holly Berry.
Haley Steinfeld. That's who I have playing her.
Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah. She was great in True Grit.
Okay.
And that's a Western.
How tall is she? We need a shorty, right?
Or just chop off some of her legs.
Okay. Leg chop.
Yeah, I think she's tall.
On her party style.
Because, yeah, I'm okay. Noah. I mean, I was leaning someone like, who's my girl from Hunger Games? J-Law, but I think she might be too tall.
Yeah, I think she's too old. I think she's too old. No, Jennifer Lawrence would be great. She's the best.
We need someone's breakout role is what we need.
Yeah, you need a young up and comer.
Yeah.
Because she's 16 at the height of it. You know that.
And maybe you have J-Law be her as like 60-year-old. And it's like, oh my God, is that Jennifer Lawrence?
Yeah. Saoirse Ronan. She's a fantastic actress.
Tynan Ronan. Yep.
You watched Little Women recently. Cried your eyes out.
Oh my God, mess.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was Annie Oakley, sharpshooter. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another episode. We'll see you then.